Hello, hello. Hello. It is September the 4th. It's Labor Day. Welcome to Tips and Tricks number 3. Today we're going to talk about Facebook Lives. We're going to talk about not only getting yourself set up to do a Facebook Live, you know, the technical things such as like lighting and your background and holding your camera and things like that, but we're also going to talk about ways to create Facebook Lives that attract people to you. So, without further ado, let me get a little close. I feel kind of far away. Let me get started. So, first and foremost, if you've been watching some of my Facebook Lives, you've probably noticed that my camera does not move around. It's not wiggling and wobbling. We've all seen those Facebook Lives where people are trying really hard, but it's hard to watch because they're all over the place, right? They're jumping everywhere. So, I want to encourage you. I don't have a fancy setup. I'll actually put a picture in the comments of the video here in a second, or when it's over, so that you can see. We were gifted a selfie stick as a joke from some friends a couple of Christmases ago, and during one of the live trainings that I did here in my home, we were having trouble filming it for people, and someone said, oh, if you only had a selfie stick, and by golly, we had it. So what I actually do is I have my selfie stick stuck into a magazine holder, and I have the magazines all around it to keep it upright and steady. Is that fancy? No. But does it work? Yes. You can buy tripods. They're kind of like a selfie stick with 3 legs. You can find those on Amazon. I think I've seen them at the Walmart, at Target, those kind of places. But you want to make sure when you're taking the time to film a live, especially when it's one that you're going to be trying to explain something to someone or talk about something that you're really passionate about, you don't want to be worried about the camera jumping all over the place. And you don't want people to be distracted, because if you've ever watched one of those where it's really bouncy and all over, some people will just go ahead and, I mean, I'm one of them. I'll stop watching it, because if I feel like I'm getting seasick, I won't continue to watch. So first and foremost, you want to get your camera set up and you want to get it rock solid. Secondly, you want to pick a background that isn't too cluttered. I usually do mine here in the office, and I'll get to the reason why in a minute, because there is some clutter behind me. It does encourage me to pick things up before I do a video, so that is nice. I could maybe zoom in and just try to get more of the wall behind me, but I also like to have a little bit, I don't want it to just be my face, I guess is what I'm getting at. So, you want to think about that. You may not want to do, oh, there's one of the things I was going to talk about, trying to keep things quiet. Oh shoot, somebody just walked by the house, got the dogs excited. So, oh my gosh, hang on, let me cover this up. Hey. Oh, I don't even know how I did that. I went to cover up the sound and it paused the broadcast. So anyway, hopefully that didn't jump us around too much. So you want to try to pick a background that isn't too busy, that doesn't have, like, I'm not standing or sitting someplace where there's a bunch of people moving around behind me. There's not a bunch of, there are animals moving around, as you just heard, but you can't see them. They're not visually distracting. It's not, you know, dirty back there. Yes, there's some things of my office. It does give a little glimpse into my life, but it's not like super cluttered. So you want to think about that when you're doing your background. You can stand in front of a plain wall. If you want, you can get some sort of fabric and put up behind you. Again, you don't have to be fancy about it, but you do want to try to be consistent with it. You want to also, when you set up your camera and your background, you want to go horizontal, like how I'm doing it, more than you want to go portrait mode. The reason for that is because, or they call this landscape mode. You want to go landscape mode. The reason for that is because that is the preferred format for Facebook Live that Facebook likes. So again, we're trying to get our videos shown to as many people as possible, to expose ourselves to as many people as possible. So that's one of those cases where I like to follow the rules. So that is why your background becomes important, because you will see stuff behind you and not just your face. Something that you've probably seen me do a lot is I have my my earbud with the microphone in it. And the reason I do that is because I know that if I'm not right, I mean, my camera's in front of me obviously, but I'm not super close to it. So I want to make sure that you hear me and not all the background noise. I want to make sure that you have a clear audio that goes with this video. These are super cheap. I got this one at Target. I use it for phone calls. I use it to listen to books. I use it to listen to music, and I use it to talk, obviously, on my videos. So it's not an expensive investment, but it does make a difference versus just trying to talk over. Maybe there's a fan running. Maybe there's a car driving by. You know, whatever those background noises are, this puts the microphone closer and it gets more direct with the sound. So it's a simple little trick, but it does work wonders. And when, like in this case, I'm not worried about listening, I'm only worried about speaking. So I just have the one in my ear, and it's not, you know, it's not a big deal. Lighting. So you want to make sure that you have a lot of lighting, because a dark video is hard on the eyes, not as interesting, and it just doesn't look as good. So the reason that I choose this particular spot, even though I do have some clutter behind me, is because I am facing two stacked windows, so 4 big panes of glass. So I'm getting a lot of natural light coming at my face. You've probably noticed every now and then I will talk about it being slightly gloomy or rainy or something like that. When that happens, sometimes I even just pop a lamp closer, but you want to be facing the light. You want the light coming in front of you so that it lights up your face and helps keep the screen nice and lit. You've probably noticed once or twice already, it's been really sunny and then kind of overcast. Right now it's overcast, so the lighting's better. When it got really sunny earlier, I think there was, oh, here it comes. Oh my gosh, it's as if he knew. Do you see the white line coming across me now? I'm okay with it. My head is still above it. I could adjust the blinds to try to fix that if I was super picky, but I'm not super picky. So, and I think lastly, the thing that you want to think about when you're setting up your video, you want to think about your energy. If you are in a poopy mood, probably not the best time to do a video, right? Nobody wants to get on a video and somebody is sitting there and they're all like, let's talk about this, right? You want to listen to someone who's excited about what they're talking about. You want to see someone with a smile on their face. I don't mean you have to be fake about it. You want to have genuine excitement. So if you are not excited, go get excited. I'm not saying for you to say, oh, I'm not excited, so I'm not going to do my video today. She said not to do it if I'm not excited. You get your butt outside and walk around the house and go in a couple circles. Do some jumping jacks. Go read something motivational. Go jump in the shower. Do something to get your blood pumping, and then come in and do that video. Because you guys, these videos are key to exposing you to all your friends and family and their friends and family and growing your business. So don't be afraid. Get excited. Have energy. Something I struggle with is I'm a hand talker. That's one of the reasons I try to zoom in, because otherwise you would just see all over the place most of the time. So if you're like me, try to sit on your hands. Try to zoom in enough that you don't have a ton of hand activity, because it can be distracting. So those are like the technical things that you want to have. Basically, don't overthink it. If you're sitting in your car one day and you're like, oh, I'm going to do a Facebook Live, try to prop your phone up. Maybe you don't have your handy dandy tripod with you. Just try and prop it up so it's nice and steady. Try to park the car so it's directed into the sun, so the sun's hitting you on your face. If you have your microphone, great. If not, make sure you roll up all your windows and try to keep it as quiet as possible around you. So it doesn't have to be fancy. It just needs to be clean and clear. The nicer the video looks, obviously, the more people are going to actually tune in and watch it. So now let's talk about tips to make your Facebook Live engaging. Make it something that people really want to listen to and watch. I think the first thing that you have to think about when you are scrolling through Facebook and you see a Facebook Live pop up, the title is what catches you. If there is no title, people are like, well, I don't even know what she's talking about, and I'm kind of busy, so they scroll on by. If the title was, I'm doing a video, well, okay, obviously we got that. We see that it's a video. We don't need you to tell us we're doing a video. If the title is Happy Tuesday, okay, thanks, scrolling on by. You want to be specific, and you want to kind of have like a hook. You want to get people excited. So in this case, I've been calling all of these tips and tricks. I love tips and tricks. I love tips and tricks for the kitchen, for cleaning, for taking care of my animals, tips and tricks on how to clean my car out faster, how to get stains out a lot. Like, tips and tricks are something that excite me, and I know if they excite me, they excite a lot of people. So tips and tricks is kind of my title, and then my second subtitle is when I talk about, what it is. And so in this group specifically, I know that one of the things on our challenge is a Facebook Live. So I know that you probably want to learn tips about Facebook Live. So to me, that's a good hook. So you want to think about what your title is, make it kind of juicy, make it kind of exciting. Sometimes it can even be tricky. Like sometimes, I've done a video before where I wanted to talk about why it's so much more important to be healthy than actually lose weight. But I know that losing weight is what gets people excited and catches their attention. So I titled the video, Do You Want to Lose Weight? ? That got a lot of people to watch it. And then they actually got into the video and they were able to participate and understand what I was talking about, but that hooked them in. And so that's important to think about your title. Secondly, you need to know that the first 10 seconds is your time to catch everyone's attention and keep them. If you can't get people excited in the first 10 seconds or get them curious, they're gone. So when you see people do a Facebook Live and they start talking about how, oh, let me wait till a few people get on. Let's wait. Oh, there's Jane. Hey, Jane, invite some people. Okay, yeah, there's only a couple people. Let's wait a little bit longer. Okay, bye. I'm gone. I have stuff to do. And you have to remember, the majority of your viewers for Facebook Lives are going to come in the form of a replay viewer. A live is exciting. It does capture the moment. I think as far as the person speaking on a live, it keeps you going. There's no, oh, I screwed up, let's start over. But you have to remember the majority of people watching this are going to watch it in replay. So if you have a person who's scrolling through, they find your Facebook Live and they go to start watching it, and you're literally in your 10th, 12th, 15th second and you haven't said anything yet except, oh, I'm waiting on people to get on, they're bored. So what I like to do before I even, well, there's two things. One is I just can dive in and do the video. For instance, for this video, this is in this group. It's something I feel like people in this group are going to care about and they're going to watch. So I just really got on here and dove right in. Sometimes in my other groups, when I'm trying to capture people's attention, like my public videos, who I want it to get shared and reached out to other people, I will spend a few minutes talking about what we're going to talk about, and then I will introduce myself, and then I will dive in. So in the first 10 seconds, I'm saying, here's what we're going to talk about. This is my ideas. These are the things I want to cover. Okay, hey, by the way, this is who I am. And by then, it's been the 10 seconds. So if people are jumping on, they're probably on by then. And if you're a replay viewer, you're getting a little synopsis, and then we're diving in. I'm not wasting anybody's time, and I'm not wasting my time. So you want to remember that. Your video needs to be engaging from second one. Third, establish your authority. And that's exactly what I just told you about. So I hop on and say, hey, here's what we're going to talk about today. Here's my ideas, or here's what I want to discuss or think about or get you guys excited about. By the way, for those of you who have never been on one of my videos, my name's Tammi Battaglia. I'm a personal trainer. I live here in Lebanon, Ohio, blah, 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 blah. Whatever it is that makes you more of an authority in their eyes. And when I say authority, I don't mean that you're an expert. I don't mean that you are older, more mature, more intelligent. It just gives some background. So for example, if I was going to hop on and give tips about packing for traveling overseas, I would get on and say, I'm Tammi Battaglia. I am addicted to travel. I try to get 2 to 3 trips a year, and I'm only happy if they include my passport. I'm not saying I'm a travel expert. I'm not saying that I have some sort of fancy degree in traveling. I'm just saying it's what I love to do, right? So if you are a mom and you're going to hop on and you're going to give tips and tricks about making baby food, you might just want to get on and say, you know, hey, I am Sally Sue. I'm a mother of 2. Just started making my own baby food, and I'm in love with the way it's turning out, and I want to share that with you. So they know right there you're a beginner, but you're super excited about it. So you want to establish who you are, why the heck they should even listen to you. A lot of people forget when you're doing a Facebook Live, you're assuming that everybody knows who you are. Maybe they do. Maybe it is all your family and friends. Maybe in the beginning it is only your mom watching you. But you want to make sure that you establish who you are for that reason, the fact that you want these videos to be shared, you want them to reach outside of your current network. And that's why in the previous video when I talked about making your public or your profile public, once your profile is public and you start making videos, they could go everywhere and anywhere. So people need to know your full name in case they want to try to find you on Facebook, and they need to know some information about you because they're not your cousin, they're not your grandma, they don't know what you do. Fourth, and this is probably you're going to hear this a couple of times in different ways, but number 4 is encourage engagement. So in the beginning, if I'm talking about, we'll go back to the travel example. If I'm talking about traveling and I'm saying, a couple of my favorite places, I'm like, give me some hearts if you've ever been to Mexico. Give me some hearts if you've ever been to Canada. That's encouraging people to engage with your video. Or I could say something like, our next trip that we are dreaming about is Italy. If you've ever been there, let me know where you went. Where did you stay? What are the places I have to go see? You want people to interact with you for 2 reasons. Number 1, if they're interacting, they're gonna stay with you. And number 2, if they're interacting, your video is going to get shared and played more and more and more. Number 5 is also called call to comment, which I kind of jumped the gun and threw that in there where I said, tell me places to go. Things like, sometimes when people are first starting their videos, they might say, hey, welcome to the video. Thank you so much for hopping on. Let me know where you're from. Yes, in the beginning that might feel weird because, again, you're assuming it's just your friends and family, but once the video starts getting shared, you'll be surprised who hops on and says, oh, I'm so-and-so from this state or from this country. Facebook is worldwide, you guys. You never know who's going to see it. So if you want to find out where your viewers are from, ask them. Let me see. You want to throw in a call to comment every few minutes. So you don't want to make your whole video about comments, but at the same time, you don't want to go through the whole video and then forget to ask people. So sometimes what I do, typically what I always do before I go Facebook Live is I jot down a few notes. The reason I do that is, one, to keep me on track because I tend to talk. I tend to be a storyteller and I get off track. Second reason is because I make sure I put pauses in there where I just make myself a little question mark so that I know, okay, it's time to ask them a question. It's time to ask them something that what I've just talked about, can they relate to? Number 6, the content itself. We haven't even talked about what the video is about, right? So I've told you how to open it up, how to get people thinking that you're the person they want to talk to, how to get them to interact with you, but what are you going to talk about? Well, that refers back to where I think it was number 2, where we talked about our ideal client. That's where you come up with your content for the video. Now, Facebook Live prefers an 18 to 20 minute video, and they are not discouraging up to 35 to 40 minutes. So some of you I know are nervous, and I know some of you, your first Facebook Lives are going to be 5 minutes, maybe 3. It's okay, you're just starting out, but you want to start developing content that will fill up that time. Now, when I think of my content, I don't really think of time filling because, like I said, I'm usually a talker and I have no trouble filling the time. But if you aren't a talker, you might want to make sure you come up with some bullet points. And that's a really good point as well. It's kind of a side point, but anyway, if you're going to do a video about tips and tricks, top 3 ways to pack for overseas travel. My top 10 best recipes for baby food. The top 3 apps I use to make my life easier. Those are kind of catchy titles, and it also helps keep you on track when you're going through. Tip number 1, da-da-da. Tip number 2, da-da-da. See what I'm saying? So that'll help you with your content as well. But remember, you want to make sure your content is something that your ideal customer is going to care about. Don't just hop on and start rambling. Make it worth their time, because if you ramble once, they're going to remember that, and they're going to not come back to you that often. If you've already rambled a couple times, don't give up. Start making good videos, and they will catch back up. Number 7, a call to action. Why the heck did you even make this video in the first place, right? Maybe you want to tell your viewers, okay, now I want you to go plan that summer vacation now that we've talked about all these great ways to travel. Or maybe at the end of it, maybe you are the person making the baby food and you're also connected to the local farmer's market. So at the end you could say, now that we've gone over all these great recipes, I want you to know on Thursdays at the parking lot over by the library, we have an awesome farmer's market. Get your butt there. Get all your fresh fruits and vegetables for your baby food. See what I'm saying? So you want to kind of connect your video with something that you want them to go do. People, I don't want to say people like to be told what to do, but if someone has sat through 18 to 20 minutes of your video, they're inspired, they're curious, they're excited, and now they want a next step. So it could even be, okay, so now that you know how to make my baby, or I've shared all these baby food recipes with you, get your tush to wherever it is and get this blender because this is the best one. Whatever it is that you want them to do. A lot of times in my case, I'm encouraging people to take the next step in their activity level or take the next step in their food journey, whatever it is. But you want to have a call to action with your video so that it's nice for a couple reasons. Number 1, it's a great way to end your video. It gives a nice cap to the end of it. And number 2, it helps encourage people. Good morning, Sonia. And last but not least, you can, as you grow your following, you can start to do question and answers. Here's the thing with question and answer periods. Number 1, if you only have 1 or 2 people on, you don't have anybody asking any questions, right? So what you could do is already have some pre-done questions and say, all right, we're going to do questions and answers. I got this question the other day from so-and-so in regards to the topic that we just covered, and that's the thing. Or you can just nix the question and answer period until you find yourself with a really big following. The best way to set yourself up for question and answers, if that's really what you want to do, is announce ahead of time that you're going live. I'm going live today at 8 p.m. I'm going to be discussing the top 3 ways to prepare yourself for traveling overseas. Hop on if you've got questions. You know, in my case, a lot of times it might be I'm hopping on tonight at 5 o'clock. We're going to talk about the top 3 things you should be having at breakfast. You know, I'm just making stuff up. But give them, kind of get that hook in there and give them the time to get on. Because, for instance, it's a holiday today. I just hopped on here. I didn't tell anybody what time I was hopping on. I figured a lot of people would be busy. I'm going to be busy later, so I needed to get this video in. So we have 2 people watching right now. That's okay. I know it's going to be replayed, and it's going to be replayed probably more than once from some people, because you're going to want to go back and get these tips and make sure you truly understand them. So don't worry about how many people are watching you live, unless of course you've announced that it's a question and answer session. And if it's a question and answer session, you need to make sure that you have some questions already prepared, just in case the questions aren't flowing in like you hope. But yeah, don't worry about it in the beginning. Just get on there and make your videos. Make them something that you care about. It does not have to be Thrive related. I cannot say that enough. You are going to get more people interested in you and what you're doing in your life if you don't talk about Thrive all day long. Think about your other friends, okay? All of your friends and family have jobs. How many of them get on Facebook all day long and talk about their job? Right? Not a lot. No, it's not because they totally hate their job. I'm sure some people do, but that's not why, because they're on Facebook to share their lives and to see other people's lives. So if you've turned your whole Facebook profile into a Thrive commercial, you've sold yourself short, you've turned some people off, and it's time to let them know that you are still there, you're still a human being, and every blue moon you're going to slip in a little something about the fact that you still use Thrive, you still love Thrive, you still have an amazing offer for friends and family. You know, you're still going to get, you're still going to get some tidbits in there, but you're not going to scream it at them. So I know one of our things right now is to read books, and that is for 2 reasons. Number 1, obviously the personal development. Secondly, you guys are picking up tons of information that's ringing bells for you. Use this information for your first video. If you are reading the 5-second rule from Mel Robbins and you are within the first chapter, you already have some tips and tricks that you could share with people. If you're reading Girl Code, if you're reading Girl Boss, if you're reading the 10 Times Rule, if you're reading any of the Joel Osteen's, I'm just trying to think of all the books that have been thrown out so far, you've got information that you can share with people. If you're not an expert and you're not saying it, you're just saying, hey, I read this book, it's amazing, I'm going to share with you a few things that I loved about it. The link to the book is below. You're not trying to make any money off of anybody, you're just selling, or I'm sorry, you're just sharing, not selling, you're just sharing some information, but it's connecting people to you. So before I hop off real quick, I just want to remind you, on Tuesday, which is tomorrow, we are going to officially ask for pictures of all of your updated vision boards. So if you're not done with your updated vision board, today's the day. Get that finished. Thank you, Poppy. She already put her picture up, and that hopefully will encourage people to get that done. I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. You guys have been so good about being interactive. I love that we're sharing all the books that we're reading. I love, love, love when everyone shared their I ams. I want this to be a page about each other, community, learning, and sharing. It is not my page. It is our page, our group, and I want you guys to participate, and it makes me so happy that I see that you guys are. So don't forget, vision boards tomorrow. In the meantime, think about all these tips and tricks for Facebook Live. Oh, here is one little secret tip I want to give you. Here is one of the best ways for those of you who are scared out of your mind to do your first Facebook Live. It'll be your pre-first Facebook Live, we'll call it. Go onto Facebook, create a private, closed group. You have to have at least one member beside yourself. So put your best friend, put your husband, maybe put your upline, someone you trust and love. It can just be the 2 of you in this group, and you can practice your Facebook Live in that group for the first time. Get on there, ramble, get the nerves out, set the camera up, see how the background looks, are you well lit, all that jazz. Go ahead and talk about something, get your gut going, and then go back and watch it. Go back and watch yourself. Are you noticing lots of movement and clutter behind you? If so, clean it up. Is your face really dark and people can't see you? Go plug in a light. Are you stuttering? That's okay. You'll get better. I have, and again, I'll take some, I'll try to get some shots of this so you guys can see how I'm set up. It's super simple. Right below me, right here on my desk are my notes. So I just have to glance down, see where I'm at, glance down, see where I'm at, that kind of thing. It's super easy. Don't overthink it. Hop on, get them done. You guys have a fabulous Labor Day, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Bye.